Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to episode 21 of Hello
21, man.
the podcast. Yeah,
The
we're an
podcast,
adult.
it can drink now. Yeah, the podcast can drink.
Yeah, congratulations,
I mean,
podcast.
it's been able to drink for the past couple of years if it lived in Australia, but
True.
you know,
In
everywhere
America?
in the world, it can drink now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can drink now. So, well done, podcast. You've grown up.
Welcome. How you doing? How's it going?
Yeah, I've been better. You know, I've been better.
Yeah, you're a bit
Last
under
night,
the
I
weather.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it was, but yesterday when I came home from uni, I was just like wiped. Like I had real achy muscles and like I was real shivery and things like that.
Mm.
So I was like, I'm quite scared that it's like a flu or a cold or something, but I haven't had any other flu symptoms. Like I'm not sniffly, I'm not like, coughy, I'm not like, sore throat or anything. So I'm hoping that it's just like an exhaustion thing, or something similar to that,
Yeah.
But yeah, feeling a bit better today than yesterday, so that's a good thing.
That's good.
But yeah. How you been though? How you been?
Yeah, pretty good.
Mm,
I had food poisoning this week.
that's right.
And
Yeah.
straight after from recovering from being sick, had food
Yeah.
poisoning, and then tomorrow I get my
God, it just
teeth
never
out.
ends.
Yeah,
This is true.
yeah.
So we're lucky we could fit this in before that happened. Otherwise, we would have had to take another week off.
I'm wondering. I should be fine by next week's recording, but we'll see.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, we saw in your Twitch chat over the past couple of days, we've seen a couple of people being like, yeah, I was back to eating solid foods in like, 48 hours or, something like that. So I guess it just depends person on person as to how quickly you sort of recover from it,
Yeah, and like how complicated your case is, I guess, with
Yeah,
your wisdom
exactly.
teeth.
Some
But we'll
people are
see.
lucky and they only need to get like, 1 or 2 out or something like that. You're
Yeah.
getting all 4 out, aren't you?
All four.
Yeah, I would have to do the same when I eventually go and make my appointment or something. I would have to get
Oh,
all 4 of
really?
mine taken out as well. Yeah,
You're
but
just
it's
waiting to make
it's
the
scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's gonna be
scary.
my first
I
surgery.
keep putting it off. It'll be my
I'll
first
just do
surgery as
it.
well. Yeah,
Just do it. Get it out of the way.
I know. You told me that a couple of weeks ago as well. You're like, just call them and book it because then it's out of the way. But it's still like, I don't know, man. It
And,
scares me.
Well, the
Like,
worst thing is if it continues to grow and it grows badly, then it's even worse.
I know. That's the thing. And like I've had braces before that I've said. I think in the
Right,
podcast, I think I've
right.
had braces, and if they do grow out, they're growing towards like the front of my mouth. Sort of is what the X-ray said a couple of years back.
Which is not
So
good.
if they do grow, it would push all my teeth back forward the way they used to be.
Oof.
Which it's not good because that's even more money down the drain then.
Mm-hmm. So
But,
yeah.
yeah.
Get them teeth out. We get it done together.
Oh,
and then
all right.
recover together and like
Yeah.
and just be like, how you feeling? How the drugs?
Exactly. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Yeah. Well, you'll have to keep your eyes on Jen's social media over the next couple of days then, because she's asked her husband Steven to record it as she slowly starts to come off the anesthesia and whatnot. So hopefully we get some good content.
Well, if I feel
but,
confident
yeah.
enough to release it, that's the question.
That's
But,
true.
yes.
That's true. Yeah.
Depends what I say.
If it's
Depends
just
what
like stupid,
I,
yeah. If it's
Jen,
just some stupid
says.
thing, sure.
Mm.
Exactly. But if it's something a bit sus, probably
Yeah,
not.
yeah. But I
did
guess
think it might be
Mm.
it might be fun if we record a gameplay where like you can't talk or something like that.
Oh,
Like
what
you
if
could just sort of like you could just like
I mean,
you just
that's
like
how
little
I
grunts
play.
and groans.
That's my siege callouts. It's no different.
That's true. That's true.
It's no
yeah.
different.
It's not, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's just a table slam and then damn or something. But
Pretty
no.
much.
Yeah. Do you want to get into this week's topics then, Jens?
Yeah, so we got quite a few, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be another long one today. Especially the last couple of topics because they're going to be some pretty good discussion ones. But Jen, start us off with this Resident Evil news you have.
Which I'm actually really sad about. So basically, Resident Evil producer Peter Fabiano is leaving
Fabiano, yeah.
Capcom for Bungie after 13 years of working with Capcom.
Damn.
And
Jeez.
like this guy worked on all the good Resident Evils. So Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes, and Resident Evil Village, which I'm crazy sad about because he absolutely nailed it. I mean, obviously, I don't know.
That is a sick CV. He has
that
a
is
sick
amazing
resume
CV.
right there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I don't know exactly how much of all of those games like was solely because of him, of how they turned out, but
yeah.
I'm worried about Resident Evil, whatever comes next, because Resident Evil Village has set like a crazy high bar. And I'm very worried.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's surprising that he would go to a company like Bungie, because Bungie, I feel, is so different to Capcom, like in terms of the games and like the media that they produce and they make.
Well, do they only do Destiny? Because that's all I'm kind of familiar about.
Yeah, at the moment, I think that's all they work on. I could be very wrong. You know, I'm not too sure, but I know Bungie used to be the ex like Halo developers and writers and all that sort of stuff, but they palmed that off to 343 Industries.
Right.
To when they started making Destiny. So yeah, I think it's only Destiny, but I don't know. This leads me to believe, we talked about this a little bit before we started recording, but it leads me to believe that he could this be like it because of Destiny 3? Question mark? You know,
Yeah,
it's been a little while, because when was it Destiny 2, the Forsaken? I think it's called. Like that big DLC that came out for it.
Kings, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know who's gonna go
that's
with
been
us.
a couple of years. Yeah, he is. But it's been a couple of years since that came out, so they could very well be trying to produce new Destiny content, whether or not it's another whole new expansion or if it's just an entire new game again.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because
who knows?
Either that or a completely different game, because
you would think he would be moving to Bungie to start something new. You know, he wouldn't be moving over there during like the middle of their sort of like, you know, their game life cycle, I guess, to sort of see out the last couple of months or the last year or two of a game. Like, that would be a bit silly. You know, but yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting move, I guess.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see what he does next, really.
This is true. E3 is just around the corner, so potential news for Destiny 3, Destiny content is, you know, it's out there probably. So yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll keep you guys posted.
Yeah.
But moving on, speaking of new content and, you know, teasers and all that sort of stuff, a new teaser for a brand new Sonic game has been released. So this is from roughly a week ago now. I added this basically as soon as we uploaded the last week's podcast. I saw this like real late in the night, and I was like, God damn it, if only this came out like a day before, we could have covered it. But yeah, so this is from last week. But yeah, so this announcement came alongside Sega's 30th anniversary celebrations for Sonic. Sonic's 30 years old now, which is kind of crazy. Sonic's older than both of us.
Oh my God, he is.
Yeah. And all that we know is that fans can expect the game to be released sometime next year in 2022, for all major devices, so like your PS5, your new Xboxes, PC, Nintendo Switch, and they're even going to include the last gen consoles, so your PS4s and Xboxes, for those that have been sort of, you know, unlucky enough to not be able to grab a PS5 yet or an Xbox, because they are still a bit tricky to track down.
They are still low stocked.
Yeah. Now, I'm not the biggest Sonic fan. I was a Nintendo kid growing up, but I know Steven is. So I can imagine that Steve and him, you know, he would be very excited for this.
I'd assume
I guess if you've seen it. I'm not sure if you've seen it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Not. I'd assume so.
Probably not. No. Yeah. Because, yeah, I don't know. I could never get into Sonic as a kid. I feel like the games were just a bit too fast for me, you know?
Oh, really?
Like him zooming around. Yeah, him zooming around and stuff. Like, it didn't translate into a nice platformer for me. I guess maybe if I grew up playing Mario, like, that's sort of a lot more, like, I guess I'd put in quotations, standard platforming, in the sense that you're not, like, zipping and, like, you know, shooting through the air at, like, you know, 600 miles an hour or something. But Sonic, yeah, it always felt a bit clunky to me as to how he would platform, because he was moving so fast. So yeah, I never really got into it. Plus, I never had a Sega console as a kid. I started with an N64, and then went on to like the Game Boy and the DS and all that. So, um, but yeah, I guess I'd be interested in playing a new Sonic game if it came out.
Did you play
I
the
think for the last
last
couple of
one?
years, because it was they brought out a remastered collection,
The
I think,
remaster one, yeah.
recently, and apparently that was really good. Like they hit the nail on the head with that apparently. And it is on my wish list for I think Switch or PC. I can't remember exactly, but I feel like I'd prefer to play it on Switch.
Probably.
But yeah, I've been wanting to get into Sonic for a little while now, but I don't know. I just can't shake that feeling that they're a bit like clunky. I guess I don't know.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Yeah,
I
but yeah,
never
like I said,
really
I'd be
played
interested in
them.
playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think a lot of my friends as well growing up, they were all Nintendo kids and things. I don't think I really remember anyone
You didn't
being a
mix
big
with the
Sonic
Sega
fan.
kids.
No, no,
Yeah.
yeah, we were very elitist Nintendo kids.
Yeah.
So
Snobs. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
yeah, no, but speaking of Sega,
Yeah. Continuing on.
this is some weird news. Uh,
Kinda
apparently
cool.
they're considering opening a theme park here in Australia. So a Sega theme park.
Mm.
That's so random.
I
Like,
mean, like, sure, whatever, Nintendo, don't come to Australia.
mm,
But
exactly. Yeah,
this might be our next best thing if it happens.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. So I do go into that. That's like one of my last points for this. I was like, do you think this is Sega trying to capitalize on Nintendo World only being open in Japan at the moment? I think there's also plans that they're making it somewhere in North America. I forget which.
Yeah, I think
Which
3 places in North America.
Yeah,
And then one
but
random Singapore.
that's right. Yeah, and Singapore or something like that. Yeah. So this is Sega, I think, trying to capitalize on them only being in those sort of areas. So I'm
Maybe.
gonna go into a little bit of details here,
Mm.
but according to a Sonic YouTuber named Badnik Mechanic, he apparently discovered a report by a company called CA Technology Group, who detailed Sega's desire to bring back and expand the theme park business. So basically, I'll give you a little snippet as to what this report said, but CA Sega Joyplus, I guess, is the name of an indoor amusement park that's operated by the same name, so CA Sega Joyplus, this company, which is
Joypolis.
open in Yokohama in Japan. Yeah, Joypolis, yeah, that's the one. Which is only in Yokohama, Japan. So it goes on to say there's a bunch of hit rides such as the Gekion Live Coaster, the Giant Half Pipe Swing, the Wild River, the Treasure Hunt, and then state-of-the-art simulators that offer fun 3D, 4D, and VR experiences.
Ooh.
It then goes on to say that currently CA Sega Joypolis has been dominating the hearts of Japanese people for over 27 years, so almost as long as Sonic's been around.
Yeah, right.
With branches in Japan and China, and here's the kicker, plans to expand to Europe, America, and Australia in the near future. So 2 of those stand out to me being Europe and Australia.
Yeah.
Those 2 being sort of the only 2 demographics or the only 2 regions in the world that don't have a Nintendo World in them or any plans for a Nintendo World in the near future. America and like that very small part of Asia and Singapore already has plans for a Nintendo World opening up.
Yeah.
But I feel like Sega's trying to capitalize the most by opening up these in Europe and Australia to like really, fill in those last 2 spots that Nintendo hasn't been able to hit just yet or something. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of exciting. I'd be down
Would you
to
go?
have a Sega theme park. Yeah, I'd go. I feel like I'd go just to experience it. Like even
Yeah,
not being a
true.
Sega fan or anything like that, I feel like it would still be fun to go to like a video game themed theme park.
I'm so
I
curious
would
on
still
what.
love to go to Nintendo World, but
Oh, yeah, for sure. But after seeing
so
Nintendo
yeah,
World, I have a new
mm,
standard of like what video game theme
yeah,
parks should look
yeah.
like.
But that's the
And
thing too.
my
Like
worry.
Nintendo World isn't your traditional theme park at all.
No,
Like
it's
it's
experience.
Nintendo World isn't centered around the rides like what
Mm-mm.
like Movie World in Queensland or the Gold Coast here in Australia is.
Mm.
Or some of the other theme parks. It's more centered around, like Jen said, the experience. That's where I feel like they've really hit the nail on the head with like
Yeah.
making it feel like you're in a Mario world. Um but yeah, I don't know.
Do you
Would
reckon
you
it'll
go to
be.
a Sega World?
Maybe. Maybe.
Mm,
I mean, depends where it is. Do you reckon it'd be in Gold Coast, where
who
the
knows?
three
Yeah.
big theme parks
I
are,
mean,
or
it's
Sydney? Sydney makes more
yeah. I don't
sense.
know. Sydney does make more sense because the only theme park we have here sort of is Luna
Luna.
Park, and then
Yeah.
there's Wet and Wild. I think I think it's in Prospect,
I don't think it did very
or
well.
Blacktown. It's not called Wet and Wild anymore. They've
Oh.
changed owners and they've named it something else.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But yeah, for the first like couple of years, it did all right. I think now not as many people go to it,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, it would be interesting if we got it,
I
in
reckon that
Sydney
makes more
here. I just don't know
sense.
where. Where would it
Yeah.
go? Like, I'm trying to think if there's any large like development areas nearby or around that I can think of, but all of like the land development that I see getting snatched up is for like residential places,
Mm.
at least around me and things.
Yeah, it'll
You
be
know,
out like
uh,
2 hours out of Sydney or something.
yeah,
Because Wet and
probably,
Wild is quite
probably.
far out too.
I mean, it's close enough to me that I can jump on a bus and
Oh,
make it
fair.
there. But yeah, if you're in the CBD, like where you used to live,
Mm.
it would take you like about an hour and a bit to get out to it.
Yeah.
So I guess it just depends where you live.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'd be down for a Sega World. You know, um, it would be interesting if they do bring it here and it sort of, kicks Nintendo up the butt a little bit in a sense that they then want to move Nintendo World over here as well, like in the sense that they're missing out. You know?
Maybe, but I feel like also maybe it's like a good driving factor for people to go to, say, Japan, or,
Yeah,
like
that too.
tourism. I don't know.
Because I know when I was in Japan, they're still I think one of the only places that have traditional arcades. Like we have a
Mm.
couple of arcades here in the CBD and stuff like that, but they're pretty shit. You know, almost every arcade that you went to in Japan was like a Sega arcade.
Oh yeah.
Or there were very few that were not Sega, and you could tell because they'd have the giant blue Sega sign
Right.
above on top of the building. And they were sick, man. They were like 3-4 stories tall of just
Oh
like
my
all of these
god.
video games. Some of them were themed in the sense that like one entire floor was all of these arcade machines it was like this mech fighter game, but it was all online multiplayer. So when you jumped on, you were playing
Oh
against the same people
really?
on the same floor
Oh
on
wow.
the arcades. They were great,
That's
man. Yeah.
sick.
Um, so I wish we had things like that over here
Yeah.
because I would spend so much time and money at those places that not even funny.
Yeah.
Like, it's yeah. Because like
Oh,
I
I'm
said, we
so
have some here,
jealous.
but they're pretty watered down. They're not like
They're so
they're not
old
like
and they don't
yeah.
take care of them, and they're just
No, yeah. Like there's only so many plushie machines that you can go on before you're like, all right, like I'm sick of it now. Yeah.
pretty much. And like all of the
Mm.
Japanese ones that I've seen online just are so cute. Like you
Yeah.
want
They're
everything.
so much better. Yeah, they're so
Yeah.
much better.
And there's so many of
We
them.
Me and Emma went to it was near is it Haymarket where
Yeah, Chinatown?
Paddy's markets are?
Yeah.
Where Paddy's markets are and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that
Sort of just
place.
outside, they have this this arcade thing. And as you guys can see on my microphone, I have a little Ditto figure. Ditto is like mine and Emma's favorite
Oh, did you
Pokemon.
win
We freaking
something?
love Ditto. No, they had we were walking around, we were just looking at all like they basically just had a bunch of claw machines. There were like very few
Yeah.
uh other arcade things, but it was mostly claw machines. So we were walking around trying to like look and see if there was anything worth picking up. And we walked past it, didn't realize it, came back and was like, holy shit, is that a Ditto? And it was a reversible Ditto that like it had this zipper on the bottom, so you turn it inside out and it turns into like a Snorlax or something, we
Oh.
thought. We put I think
Oh
like
no.
$15 into this machine,
Oh dear.
and still didn't win it. So we gave up, and we have plans. I still have the coins sitting here on my desk, but we have plans to go back at some point to see if you're still there to win him, because I really want that plushie. Like, yeah,
Yeah, I think you guys need to win
I really
that.
want it. I think it's we're planning to go into the city some point soon. Because I got Emma this candle that you can take to a store here in the city called Provider Store. Do recommend if you guys live in Sydney, and want some really nice candles. provider store, the place to go. They're relatively expensive to start off with. They were like $60 or $70 for like one candle. But if you take it to the store, they can refill it for $10.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Which is great. I have never seen a place like, I don't even think not Lush, but Dusk. I don't even think Dusk do it and things like that, which is a large chain.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know that when I bought it. I just thought it was a nice candle, and I was
great.
like, no, Emma might enjoy this. But yeah, so I was pretty proud of myself for that purchase. I might have to add.
I mean, $60 to start off with, and then $10 each time after that. That's great.
And it lasts a good while too.
Oh yeah, it would.
Like it lasts a solid while. And they're like the little ceramic thing that it comes in is a traditional handmade Japanese ceramic, container or cup or bowl or something.
So beautiful.
It is. They're really nice and really nice designed. They can fit sort of like anywhere in the house you put them, and they just So provider store, shout out. If you guys live in Sydney, or if you're online, you can buy them online, but obviously you can't refill them.
No.
But check them out. Yeah. Gotta move on though, Jenz, because do you remember a couple of weeks ago where we covered the leaks surrounding the Nintendo Switch Pro?
Yes.
Well, it happened again.
Yes, and pretty bad.
Yeah.
But basically, obviously, we all know that there is speculation that's going to be there is going to be a Nintendo Switch Pro.
At this stage, it's not even speculation.
Yeah,
we know it's coming.
We just know it's coming.
It's just sort of the question of when,
Yeah. And so Amazon Mexico did a big no-no and accidentally had it listed for sale.
Yeah. Yeah, well, not for sale. They just listed it. I don't know if it was like for a pre-order or if it was like listed as out of stock or something.
Right.
But a Twitter user was just, I think, browsing Amazon and maybe searched Nintendo Switch or something to look for some accessories or for a normal Switch, and it came up as one of the top listings. And it was titled New Nintendo Switch Pro. This title was pretty quickly changed. The Twitter user was sort of monitoring it for over the next 10 or 15 minutes. It was pretty quickly changed to something. And then shortly after that was just taken down off the website. So you can't find the listing anymore. But this is pretty damning evidence that it's around the corner.
It's very soon. Probably E3 time, maybe?
But that's the thing. So I was reading this article. This is where I got the info from. Now it states that this could just be some placeholder for like a Nintendo product. It could just be some funny, humorous person working at Amazon Mexico was like, haha, wouldn't it be funny if I titled it like New Nintendo Switch Pro? Exactly, probably fired. But it could have just been some placeholder. But the damning evidence comes from the fact that Amazon Mexico, the exact same website, was also the site that successfully leaked the Spyro Reignited trilogy for PS4 ahead of its announcement. So you could probably say that it's just a coincidence or something like that, but I don't know. I feel like
not.
This is I feel like this is the kicker. This is the it's the real sign.
They probably scheduled it how you schedule tweets and all that jazz, but
exactly
really messed up the date or something.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah. I wonder. Do you know if it came with a photo of it?
No, there was no photo. I'll put it up behind us. The little tweet, I have it saved here, but there was no image for it or anything like that. I don't even think there was a price for it.
Right.
It was just titled New Nintendo Switch Pro. So, take it with a grain of salt if you want, but it's yeah.
Oh, it's on the way.
Some other confirming news for it. This whole leak, I guess, comes just a couple of days after a Bloomberg report stated that the new console would be announced ahead of E3 for whatever reason. So E3 still, what is it, a couple of weeks away now, 2 weeks, give or take, 3 weeks or so. So I guess, with the Nintendo Directs as well, they usually announce them a day or two before they happen. They don't announce them a week or two in advance. They're like, hey, next Friday we're doing this. They go it might be, Wednesday afternoon. They'll be like, hey, on Friday morning, we're doing a direct. I like that. They don't keep you sort of hanging on the edge of your seat for too long. They just announce them and then they happen. So there's a very real possibility we still have heaps of time, roughly 2 weeks till E3. The Nintendo could squeeze in a little direct or something surrounding this console.
Yeah, that'll be really
See,
interesting.
what would the reasoning be for them announcing it ahead of E3? You know, like I feel like it's big enough news that it wouldn't get lost in all of the hubbub of E3
I
and
mean, I feel
whatnot.
like it'll be the winning news, like the thing
Exactly,
that everyone would be
exactly.
talking about if it happened
Yeah,
during
like
E3.
the PS4, the PS4, the PS5, and the Xbox. You know, the new Xboxes are already out. They've been out for a little bit now,
Yeah.
so they don't have to. Nintendo don't have to compete with that or anything.
I don't know.
It's a little bit weird. I don't know.
Hype?
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like maybe they just want to get out ahead of everyone. You know, and they just want to be like the first company with like big news, so that people still talking about them like even during
When
E3.
E3,
They want that
yeah,
like media hype or something. Like who
maybe.
knows? Yeah. But I'm excited, man. If we get an announcement for a new Nintendo Switch Pro within like the next week or two, that's
Mm.
sick. Like I'm so down for it. Like I said a couple of episodes ago,
Yeah, you're gonna buy
100%.
it.
I'm on the
Yeah.
list for a Pro. 100%. Like
I wonder if they're gonna be as scarce stock wise as
see,
the
that's
fives,
true
PlayStation 5.
because yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, or it wouldn't surprise me if they have a really long lead time in terms of pre-orders so
Mm.
that they sort of they know roughly how many people are after a new Nintendo Switch Pro.
I mean, a lot,
So they
but
have enough
yeah.
time to like ramp up production and whatnot,
Yeah.
you know. It could be something like that, who knows, but it's yeah, because the whole pre-order process around the PS5s was a whole mess. Like that was the main reason that a lot of people couldn't get their hands on one.
It was so.
I was
I
quite
mean,
lucky
yeah,
in the sense that I pre-ordered it on release day, on announcement day, sorry,
that's
but I
right.
pre-ordered it maybe half an hour after I should have, because I got like I was in the same sort of release window as when the consoles were meant to come out, but
The
I was
first
like two
wave,
weeks after or something. Like
right?
yeah, I was still in the first wave. I was just like wave 1.5, I guess I'd call it.
Yeah.
Um, which sort of sucked, but you know, at least I didn't have to wait
I mean, you
ages
were,
like some other people did.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you were away on holiday the day that it
Oh,
wasn't.
yeah. Honestly, I preempted it because I would if I was going to get that email saying, "Hey, come and pick it up tomorrow," like
Mm.
on release day, I already told my friends. I was like, "What we're doing before we leave, we're swinging past my EB Games, we're picking
Yeah,
it up
to
and we're
pick it
taking
up.
it with us."
That would have been really
Um
good of a
and
holiday.
even like yeah, and even knowing that as well, I pre-ordered. We went up to like
Oh
Newcastle
yeah,
area.
that's right.
I pre-ordered the Miles Morales game for PS5, but I made it for click and collect up at Newcastle because I was just assuming that I would have the console by
Yeah.
then. Unfortunately, I didn't. So I
No.
was just carrying around this game for a couple of days before before I went home and
Oh,
actually got my console.
that's right. It was
But
like
yeah,
mocking you. I remember.
it was teasing me, man. Oh, I read the back like every night before bed. Horrible.
Oh.
I didn't, but
No, you did. It's fine.
yeah,
It's fine.
yeah,
But yeah,
um,
very exciting.
yeah, it is.
But
I'm
yeah,
down,
big big
down.
boo boo by Amazon Mexico.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's just going to keep happening too. I feel like we're just going to get
Probably.
leaks and leaks and leaks until the thing actually comes out.
Oh, for
You know,
sure.
like, do you reckon though when they announce it, are they going to announce any games to go alongside it? Like,
I don't think so. I don't reckon that.
yeah,
I don't reckon.
like it would be crazy if they announced the second Breath of the Wild game as a release copy or like a release game, sorry, with this console.
Mm,
Like that would be insane.
I mean, it'd be amazing, but I don't know. I just feel like they won't. Maybe then so
Yeah, who
people
knows?
will want to buy it. I don't know.
Yeah, because then it could be like basically the exact same as the original Nintendo Switch, where Nintendo announced like the first Breath of the Wild as like coming out the same day that the console did, so the people that got the console could go and pick
Had
up
to
the
buy.
new Legend of
Yeah.
Zelda game. Like, and I think people were so hungry for that game that, in the similar sense that I had with my PS5, people that couldn't get their hands on a Nintendo Switch at the time were just buying the game so they had it ready to go when they did eventually get the Nintendo Switch. Like that's how
Mm.
desperate people were to play this game. Um so if Nintendo did announce the second Breath of the Wild alongside the Switch Pro, that would be a major like driving point for like people pre-ordering it or
That is
picking up the
true.
console and
That
whatnot.
is true.
So I guess like most of the topics we cover, I have to wait and see.
Pretty much.
We're just gonna have to wait and see. Jens, did you want to start off with our final topic? For
Yeah.
this week though.
So Sony have revealed that nearly half of PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 players are female.
Yeah. Now, this is a little bit different than what we typically cover.
But
I felt like it was an important topic to throw in.
Especially with the whole Horizon Zero Dawn stuff, I feel.
Well, exactly. Well, that's what we'll get into a little bit later because it was one of the last points that I sort of added in. But I felt like this would be a pretty good like sort of discussion topic, I guess. Specifically one of the comments that I found on this thread,
Right.
which I think is a very interesting sort of viewpoint to have. But yeah. So Sony announced this a couple of days ago. I don't know if Sony themselves announced it or if it was just sort of like it just got out there. But yeah, during a recent investors presentation, Sony detailed, in quotations, favorable, as they put it, statistics showing that 41% of PS4 and PS5 players were female, which is crazy. That's almost a 50-50 split.
Yes.
Almost.
And comparing that to their previous data of PlayStation 1, which had about 18% of players being female, which was 20 years ago.
20 odd years ago now. That's crazy just how much it's grown. Like it's practically doubled, in terms of female players.
I'm so curious, just moving on from PlayStation, of like PC.
I feel like we're gonna see a growth more, or at least first and foremost, in console because they're just a lot more accessible.
They are a lot more accessible, especially if you don't know how to build a PC.
Exactly. Well, not just that, but the sense that like PCs can be quite confusing in the sense that there's like 6 different launchers that like they're just a bit more sort of involved, I guess, than a console. Consoles are very simple. Like I know one of my friends, he has his own PC, but he still plays his PS5 a lot more than it because it's just as simple as putting a disc in, hitting play, and you're good to go. Like, it's so I feel like we are going to see a lot more of this growth in console first. But it is very possible that more women do want to get into PC gaming, I guess. I would assume PC gaming is considered more of a hardcore form of video gaming, I guess. I don't know.
I guess it depends on how hardcore you want to be, because you can use it.
You'd have a better outlook on this than me, I guess.
But like,
That's
anyone
true.
can get a PC. It's just whether or not if you play, it's just like there's tiers of how much you want to get into it and how much you want to spend.
The thing is too, like, I don't want to be the sort of person that says it. What's the word I'm looking for? But The Sims is considered a lot more of like a female-oriented game, I guess, and things like that. And The Sims, at least The Sims 4, I think you could only get it on PC. I don't know if it released on console, or at least I can't remember. So that would probably be a big driving point for a lot of female players wanting to get into PCs because they probably want to play the latest and greatest Sims, or like get all the expansions and whatnot. Like, I know I've had a couple of my friends ask me, they don't want to get a PC, but they just want to get a decent enough laptop that they can play The Sims on. Yeah, because like she was stuck playing like the first couple of Sims on her old PS2, which isn't a bad thing. Like some of those older Sim games are great. I still have a bunch of them out there in like my retro games box. I played those as a kid. Like I always had fun playing Sims and whatnot, but I feel like that would be a big driving point. And like you said as well, like people buying a PC for work, especially nowadays with people working from home a lot more, there's always the chance that they get a good enough PC, to play games on. I know that's what I did. I sort of built this PC as a 50-50 split between using it for uni work and, gaming. That was my main reason. But yeah, I guess moving on a little bit, the investors didn't really go into specifics as to why more women are taking up gaming, but there are a couple of other studies that we found that have explored this topic in the past for throughout the last couple of years. So one reason, and one of the biggest reasons, I guess, is escapisms. So, just being able to switch off the outside world for a couple of hours and just explore something totally new, which I think is the main reason that a lot of people do pick up video gaming.
Yeah.
Being able to just go and run around Los Santos City, or, play as Aloy and explore like sort of that beautiful world and whatnot. I feel like it's a big driving force for a lot of people picking up gaming. That too, that's one of the things they get into a little bit later. So another thing as well is like the competitive challenge, which is a big thing that I know you're into, Jenz. I don't think I've ever played with someone that's as competitive as you in some video games, but yeah, people all, obviously, like just like, playing weekend sports or social sports or something like that, there's always that competitive sort of thing that's driving you to be a bit better, or to, best other people at something. And then just simple things such as dealing with stress or like creating more social connections. So sort of like Jen's, well, what she alluded to before with COVID, people were obviously stuck inside for months on end, with no way to contact their friends or family that might live in other states or other countries or something. So gaming's sort of a good way to, keep the social interactions, I guess, and sort of have a little bit of fun with it. It's a bit different than just sitting in a Zoom call and just talking for 3 hours, you sort of having fun and doing something else. So they were just some of the reasons. But one of the other ones, which I think is very important too, gaming has also become a lot more accessible for women over the past decade or so, as sort of like the industry has shifted away from using a lot of these sorts of like imagery, like phallic imagery, or like a lot of bikini-clad women to sell video games. Like as we all know, sex sells and stuff like that. But I feel like that's a thing of the past in video games, at least.
Yeah.
Because I used to remember as a kid, like, going into video game stores or just sort of any store like that, and you would see like, what is it? Like the Dead or Alive games and all that sort of stuff. They're very,
Oh, yeah.
bikini-clad women and all that sort of stuff as a way to appease, I guess, to the male audience. So in the current day and age, gaming is filled with like more and more sort of powerful women, both in the boardroom and like, behind the developers' chairs, like, creating the games themselves. And this is something that Sony has actively been recognizing and celebrating, a fair bit, which is a good thing. It's brought a lot of light to, I guess, like they said, just celebrating women in games and all that stuff, So yeah. But the comment that I wanted to highlight, which I want to get your opinion on, Jenz.
Yeah.
Because I did see this on, what was it? I forget what the article was from, but from a user named Louis, said, she goes, I've been gaming my whole life, and most of the shit I got was from other women, not men. So basically she's saying like a lot of the driving force for her not wanting to game was other women around her,
interesting.
stating like, it's not as, it's not a womanly thing to do.
Yeah.
And she goes on to say, because I'd buy PlayStation games and, video games instead of makeup and jewelry, as much as there are male creeps around, which is very true, there are tons, especially in video games and like, online,
that's
things
still
like
happening.
that. Exactly. That's very much not obsolete at all. But the intolerance, she said, was from some women, stating like, it was a childish hobby and things like that. And she said that these women were far more annoying in real life situations where they can discuss like, buying the 15th bracelet or something, I guess, rather than picking up the latest AAA game.
Yeah.
And I that sort of stood out to me because I was like, that's actually not a point that I've ever sort of like experienced myself, I guess, because obviously I'm male. I have a lot of male friends and whatnot. We would all go to school and talk about like, what we played in Call of Duty last night or something, and I feel like the women, at least at my school, were very different in the sense that they were like this user Louis stated, they were talking like, about makeup or boys or, something like that. So I guess I wanted to get your opinion, Jenz, as to how you feel about that, because you've been gaming for quite a while now, I think, as well.
Not
as long as some other people. Like, you're not like me where you've been gaming since you were a kid. No. But for a little bit of your life, you have been gaming now, so...
Yeah, like...
I thought, have you experienced anything like this from some of your female friends or something like that, I guess?
I mean, I definitely don't have a lot of female friends because, like, the ones in high school, that like, not everyone, obviously, but the ones in high school would be talking about boys and, like, wearing makeup, and I just like wasn't interested in that. And I had like mostly male friends all of my life because I've just related more to that because I loved sports. I loved, going to the gym. I liked doing quote unquote male things. So yeah, in a way, obviously not gaming, but in a way, yes. And I definitely played games because, like after like school or before an exam, we would all run to the CC, which was like fairly close to our high school. And we'd just be playing Call of Duty when we should be studying for an exam.
Oh, look, that's exactly like me too. Yeah.
Yeah, so we had a lot of those moments, which were great. And I'd be the only girl out of like 10 guys.
Okay.
And yeah, so I definitely feel that for sure. I mean, I feel like even when I tell my high school friends like what I do for a living, it's like, oh, I play video games. It's like, it doesn't feel as nice of a thing to say than someone who's like, oh yeah, I'm a lawyer or a doctor.
I work in an office, or
I work for
I getcha.
this company.
Because it's like, there is a stigma behind playing video games for a living. I feel like a lot of people would consider it sort of lazy and things like that. But it's not just playing video games. Like there's the whole other creative side to it. Of crafting your online persona and this community around you and things like that. The video games are sort of like the very last thing on the rung, I feel like. In today's age, at least, because but it is kind of an interesting topic that, like I said before we started, I was like, this is not something we usually talk about. This is quite of a heavy topic, I guess.
Well, it's a very touchy topic, for sure.
It is, and that's the thing. That's why I hate sort of talking about these things, because it seems a bit, I don't know if like misogynistic would be the word that I'd use, but it's like coming from my point of view, like a male's point of view, it probably doesn't seem like, as much of an impact or something, I guess. Or it doesn't impact me as much, I should say, sorry.
Yeah.
So that's why it's tricky to talk about these things, because you don't want to come across, on the wrong side, or you don't want to come across the wrong way, sometimes.
Yeah.
But I guess what I wanted to say was, if any of you guys out there that are listening that have had experiences like this, like what Louis has said, let us know in the comments below, because I would be interested in reading to see if it is sort of a larger problem, or if it's sort of just, I guess, dependent on who you, like, I guess, surround yourself with, like the friend group that you surround yourself with or something.
I think it definitely, from experience, like, you learn who your groups are. And obviously, you're going to gravitate towards people who have the same interests. Or
similar interests as you. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But you'll still always get this online.
Yeah, I guess as well, what I also want to know is, would, like, women or, would they be more interested in getting into video gaming today, now that there is less of an, like a sort of a spotlight on, like, the whole sexy women thing, like, the bikini clad, the, like, the phallic imagery, all that sort of stuff. I would like to know if that is a driving force in more and more people wanting to play video games, because, and like I said too, like, there's a lot more video games coming out these days that have strong female leads and things like that. So I guess that's also a driving point behind more women wanting to play games. I think there's rumors that the new Grand Theft Auto, whenever it's coming out, and who knows, this, like, it could be 3 years away now, it could be 2 years, like, we don't know, but there is a rumor that they're making one of the protagonists a female for the first time, because Grand Theft Auto, since it came out, like, in 1996 or something like that, has always had like a male protagonist. There's been lots of female supporting characters and whatnot, but there's never been a female lead. So this would be a pretty big step in, like, the Grand Theft Auto universe, and whatnot. So I guess you could say Rockstar's sort of starting to see that shift as well, in more and more female wanting to play video games.
Yeah, and just not only that, just female representation, right? Like,
exactly.
Rockstar, with GTA 5 got so much shit because of their bikini poster model.
They still see like, and Rockstar is sort of the game that stands out most to me as one of the only sort of big developers that does it. They still very much hypersexualize the characters a lot. Like the loading screens, the very long loading screens for GTA 5. When I played it on my Xbox, I think 360 it came out on. Right at the end of its life cycle. Like the Xbox 360 was not a fast console by any means compared to like the PS5s and stuff today, but you'd sit there for a couple of minutes looking at all these bikini-clad women shift off and on your screen, or doing all these hypersexualized activities and things like that. And I guess it's also like, well, you could say, oh, it's an adult game and things, but it's still like, not everyone's like that, I guess.
Yeah, and they're just not represented very nice in the game at all.
Yeah. Or sort of the female, like, side characters, things like that, were always, like, crazy or quirky or, something like that. They were never sort of, I guess, your typical person, I guess I would say. They always had something, like, crazy about them that would make them a bit, that they would stand out a lot more or something,
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Which is, like, it's nice to see something like Alloy, and Last of Us 2, two female leads who were lesbians, which is, like, amazing. But
huge.
it got
it's huge.
So many males didn't want to play it because of that.
Yep.
And
sucks. You still see it. Like you see a lot of every post about the last, like, I still haven't played it and things like that. I really have to sit down and play it. But every post that I see surrounding The Last of Us 2, every top comment is some male being very misogynistic and being like, oh, I hate this game because they made her gay. And it's like, or just the fact that they made her a female lead. They got rid of Joel and things like, spoiler alert and whatnot. Just the fact that they got rid of the male was the fact that they didn't want to play it now. And it's like, come on, man. Like, it's 2021. You got to grow up a bit. Like,
Yeah, no, totally.
But, yeah.
But it's great that more and more female are coming into gaming. And I feel like more and more females are, like, very supportive of other females in the gaming industry, which is amazing.
True. Very true. Yeah.
I feel like
very true.
Even though, like, the comment, I'm sure, still happens, there are still such a very supportive side of it from females.
Of course. Yeah. I feel like that topic is the comment as well that Louis stated is very sort of circumstantial. I guess it's sort of, like I said before, sort of the people that you surround yourself with, of course. If you surround yourself with those sorts of, girls or those sorts of group of people that don't like video games, of course they're gonna, look at it a bit weird and different. And I guess you could say the same thing about males too. Like, if I surrounded myself with a bunch of males that were just very sporty, that didn't like video games, they'd probably ask the same, like, why are you not running around and getting healthy than sitting inside and playing video games all the time? Like, you could say that sort of thing too, but it's, I can expect that 41%, I can expect that to be growing over the next couple of years.
For sure.
I'd be very surprised if it went down. Very surprised. I think we're a decade, if not less, away from a 50-50 split between females and males.
Yeah.
In terms of playing video games and all that sort of stuff. So yeah. And I mean, that statistic as well, that 41% was only for PS4 and PS5 players. Yes. So it could very well be a lot higher based off, Xbox, players and
Switch.
And Switch and, and
Mobile.
PC and all that sort of stuff, Mobile, true, yep. It could very well be a 50-50 split. So it's, exciting times, I feel.
Yeah.
Exciting times. But I think that's all the topics we have for this week, Jenz. Was there anything that you wanted to add on towards the end before we wrap up for this week?
No, I don't think so. I think that's everything from me.
Okay, yeah.
You?
No, not that I can think of. I do just want to say, thank you guys for listening and watching like always, and sort of thank you for being a bit patient with some of the gameplay videos. They're a bit tricky to record just because of the situation we have, where like we're a couple of states away.
Yeah.
And just life getting in the way and things like that. You know, Discord sometimes is a real bitch with streaming games so other people can watch and react at the same time. So we do try and get out as many gameplay videos as we can, but it's sort of just a case of when and where we can find the time to record, and if the recording's even going to allow us to record.
Yeah.
We've been wanting to get out part 2 for Resident Evil 8 for I don't know how long now, but it's just been a real pain in the ass. So
yeah,
be patient with us, and I promise there will be a new gameplay soon. We have found a new love in Gartic Phone that I think we want to get a gameplay video of that out, because that looks like a whole bunch of fun. So
that'd be a really good video
for that. Yeah, I am excited for if we do get that out of the way. And then this month too, it now being June, right at the start of June, towards the end of the month, we have the new Super Mario Golf game, which I am very excited for.
I mean, you already got your golf hat and everything. You ready?
You know what? I didn't buy it. I felt like it was like, it's a silly purchase to get just one thing. That's fair. Especially if like I have a bunch of other hats and they're all like dad caps or baseball caps and things.
Yeah,
so
you'll make it work.
Like I wouldn't wear it normally. I did think though, like I think I'm getting some pants tailored from my girlfriend's sister. She's a really good like sort of, you know, tailor and things. So I did think maybe I could get her to make a hat, but it might be hard. I don't know. So
it'll be fine. It'll be a good video regardless.
Yeah. It's going to be a great video regardless. I can't wait.
Same.
Yeah. So, as always, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. And we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.